I was starting to drag a bit. Thought some coffee would help. When I asked though, received a disappointing response. Well, sometimes regional carriers simply don't offer the same consistent and robust service that mainline partners. And that's an important note. Despite what the paint says on the outside of these planes, these regional flights are not operated by the airlines they represent, but rather by contracted carriers. So far today, even though it seems like we've only flown with United, we've actually flown with Air Wisconsin, SkyWest, and now this flight is on Commute Air. When you're booking flights, pay attention to the aircraft type to be sure you know what you're getting yourself into. Take this trip from Greensboro, Las Vegas. It looks like I'm in first class, but don't miss the mixed cabin mode. First leg of Chicago is on a CRJ 200. As for us, we touched down in Denver right on time. And would you believe it? That's our next plane. The gate right next door. We experienced a common occurrence for regional flying here. Was waiting for that.
We mean it.
This can be either amazing or a bit rough. Pretty good. We'll wait for the bag section. Well, we'll be back out here in just a minute. It's again Welcome to Denver. And first question, Suzanne, which do you prefer, the ERJ 145 or the CRJ 200?
Yeah, this might kind of surprise you, and it kind of surprises me, but I would say the CRJ. It's a little more spacious.
I couldn't agree more. And the good news is our next flight is also on a CRJ 200. And I don't know if you're going to be saying that in just a second because it's our longest leg. This is more than 2.5 hours on a CRJ 200. Drop your guesses below. Where can we be going in California that's served by a regional jet from Denver and takes more than 2 hours to reach? I finally found that cup of coffee. And boy, I needed it. We were back outside, dropping off our bags one last time, and getting on our final airplane of the day. Look, there's a plane that brought us from Lincoln. How weird is that? We began this 844-mile flight to one of California's smaller cities. This will be the longest and, thankfully, the last flight of the day. And with a route that will take us directly over the snow-covered Rocky Mountains, it also promises to be the most beautiful. As airlines move away from these smaller easiers, what's the future of this kind of flying? Well, only time is really going to tell. Both American Airlines and United have replaced some route bus services already. And I'm sure there'll be more of that. But I also believe airlines will decrease frequencies into smaller markets in order to fill larger jets and move more service. What do you think the future holds for this kind of flying, though? Let us know in the comments below. We're just beginning our approach. Next stop is down here, California. Now, we do not recommend you book a trip across the country on regional jets, but we do think they're more important than we sometimes give them credit for. By connecting smaller communities to larger hub airports like Chicago and Denver, they really open up the world. In fact, without these jets, Lincoln's airport might not even have service, which would make it harder to visit. If you find yourself on one of these jets, here are top tips. First, pack your essentials in a smaller bag like I did so you can put your larger bag in. Be sure your devices are fully charged. And bring your own entertainment to pass the time. Oh, and if you're prone to getting hungry, don't forget to pack a snack. Well, allow me to be the first person to welcome you to Fresno, California. That's right. We made it. We just flew across the country in the tiniest seats we possibly could. Can you believe we made it?
Oh my gosh, 14 hours after left Greensboro, we're finally in California. So, you booked me a massage, right?
Yeah. Between now and the next time,
See what we supposed to.
find out why this plane is the least liked in the country in the world. Yeah.
Looks like
Suzanne's bag was mistaken for somebody else's, and she tried to take it, but then we grabbed it. It turned into a whole thing. What do you say?
Yeah, let's
Do it.
but these planes are really not going to find much food on board a CRJ. So, got to fuel up, got a long day ahead still.
If you've been around this channel for any period of time, you know that we've made some strange trips. I've done some strange things, but I gotta tell you, flying across the country by CRJs and stopping off for lunch in Lincoln, Nebraska, this could be the strangest thing I've ever done. How cool is this? It's the giant redwood forest in the airport. Maybe sequoias. I don't know. Anyway, there's big trees. Pretty cool.
Witness the greatness of Anna Hall and Team USA wherever you are with Xfinity Mobile. Now with Wi-Fi speeds up to a gig on the go. And right now,
It should be raining soon, guys. It should be raining right now. I don't see no rain.
get the fastest connection.
But right now we're gonna stay on here for a little bit, kill a little time.
The Moffat brand has been innovating since 1945. We launched the world's first.
Get ready for seats that squeeze, no space for your knees, and bandless. Yeah, we're getting out here a little bit further away from cell service. We have a really, really nice shelf stop moving across as it comes into Gladwin County now.
Baldwin?
Very pretty picture.
So it's not from here, okay?
Get away from Ford in the new Explorer from Ford, Glass and Ford. If you're looking for Ford doors and more interior glass, if you want push button doors and push button Ford, if you're going get away, if you want to leave and push button sucks drive, the only thing you want to leave behind is your back behind your Explorer.
That's just a commercial.
Skytrax is considered to be the global authority when it comes to airline rankings. And in its history, it's awarded just one carrier a one-star review, the worst review possible. That dishonor belongs to Air Koryo, the flag carrier of North Korea. Now, a lot of people in the aviation community actually quite like flying this airline, as it operates a fleet of rare vintage aircraft. But there's no denying that its planes are old, ill-kept, and unreliable. Safe to say, flying the airline is dangerous. Now, to be fair, Air Koryo hasn't suffered a fatal crash since the 80s, at least not that we know of. But the Great Western Powers have practically banned them from buying new aircraft, meaning they have to keep flying these old, rickety jets. So, is there anything North Korea can do to upgrade its fleet, or is catastrophe bound to strike? Let me explain.
I'll play some city game later on today, guys. On live on camera.
Real quick, folks, YouTube is still telling me less than 20% of the people watching this video are actually subscribed to the channel. So make sure you
Now it's pouring outside.
so we can build the absolute best community in aviation together. First, let's talk about the composition of Air Koryo's fleet. Right now, the airline flies some of the oldest aircraft on Earth. Its average jet is over 30 years old, and its oldest is 43. But age alone doesn't define a plane's airworthiness. After all, there are plenty of reputable airlines that operate aging aircraft. Delta is one of them, who flies dozens of 757s that were built in the 90s. But these planes have been so well maintained that they aren't considered a safety hazard. The same cannot be said for Air Koryo. In 2006, the EU outright banned the airline from operating in its airspace, citing serious deficiencies when it comes to maintenance. You see, Air Koryo was faced with a unique maintenance challenge. The vast majority of its aircraft were built by the Soviets at the end of the Cold War, meaning finding spare parts is quite difficult. And since these parts are so rare, it also makes them incredibly expensive. Now, North Korea is one of the most impoverished nations on Earth, so they don't have the resources or ability to stockpile these parts. And at the end of the day, this results in an unsafe flying environment. It's abundantly clear that Air Koryo needs to buy new planes. But that's easier said than done. The airline is wholly owned and operated by the state of North Korea, which is known for being a bit cantankerous in the international community. This has led to strict sanctions, and those sanctions extend to the purchase of new aircraft. Today, North Korea can't do business with Boeing, Airbus, or Embraer, the world's three biggest airplane makers. Now, this definitely makes buying new planes much harder, but it's not impossible.
So yeah, guys, just kill some timer
There
now.
are three solutions that might help North Korea circumvent sanctions and upgrade its fleet. Solution number one sees them turn to its greatest ally, China. Like North Korea, China has an unsteady relationship with the West. As such, they've poured billions of dollars into Comac, a state-run airplane maker. Comac's ultimate goal is to reduce Chinese dependence on Boeing and Airbus, while also breaking their long-standing duopoly. But Comac is still a fairly young enterprise, and to date they've only developed two aircraft, the ARJ-21 and the C919. While both aircraft show promise, they've also suffered a fair share of problems, including reliability issues, program delays, and performance shortfalls. For most airlines, these are huge red flags. But for North Korea, these teething issues actually present a golden opportunity. You see, Comac hasn't been able to earn the business of a single international customer. As a matter of fact, these are its only customers so far, and all of these airlines are owned by the Chinese government. The jetmaker has zero experience working with international airlines, and they need to learn to do so if they ever want to become a major player. This is where North Korea comes in. The country could serve as its first international testing ground, helping Comac iron out the kinks in a pretty low-stakes environment. And since Comac would essentially be using North Korea as a beta tester, they might even give them planes for free. This sounds like an idyllic solution, right? Well, there's just one problem. The ARJ and the C919 are not 100% made in China. Both aircraft use Western-built engines, with the C919 using the popular LEAP engine that also powers planes like the 737 MAX and the A320neo. So while North Korea could buy planes from China, it couldn't buy the engines needed to actually make them fly. But Comac has a solution, albeit an imperfect one. It's currently building its first domestic turbofan, dubbed the CJ1000. That engine will power future C919s and compete with the LEAP. However, it won't enter service until 2030 at the earliest, and experts agree that that timeline is overly optimistic. All in all, North Korea will have to wait more than a decade before this option becomes available. With the risk of an accident growing each and every day, North Korea needs a more immediate solution. So let's set aside China for a second and explore option number two.
Russia.
Things will go wrong for your customer.
North Korea could buy jets from Antonov. While most of Air Koryo's fleet is old, two of its planes are actually quite young. These two jets, which are AN-148s, were built by Antonov in the early 2010s. North Korea could theoretically order more of them, and they'd be ready quicker than jets from China. The only problem is that Antonov is a Ukrainian company. Now, Ukraine hasn't always imposed strict sanctions on North Korea, but in recent years, the country's tried to align itself with NATO. Not a single NATO country does business with the DPRK, so Antonov's appetite to strike up a deal seems low. To make matters worse, Antonov is a bit preoccupied at the moment. They are currently focused on supporting Ukraine's troops in the war against Russia. Now, the war has affected more than just Antonov. It's affected just about everyone on Earth. With supply chains already strained due to COVID, the invasion has pushed the global economy to the brink. According to CNN, there is now a 98% chance that we're on the doorstep of a recession. Unsurprisingly, the stock market has tumbled, with the S&P 500 down more than 20% this year. But while stocks are falling, other asset classes are still thriving. Enter Masterworks, today's sponsor. Masterworks is the first platform that lets you buy and sell shares of iconic pieces of art without needing millions of dollars. And the returns are pretty compelling. So far, their investors have realized a 29% return, and their latest exit, which was just a few months ago, saw a return of 33%. Now, this is not financial advice, but if you'd like to learn more about fine art investing and how it might protect you during a recession,
25 the base.
Masterworks. And while they usually have a waiting list to join, my subscribers can actually skip to the front of the line. Simply visit the link in the description to check it out and to support my channel. Speaking of Russia, they are North Korea's third and last option. Like China, Russia is an ally to the Hermit Kingdom. But unlike China, Russia's aviation industry is mature. Critically, that means they develop their own engines. Take the PD-14, for instance. This engine is designed and built entirely in Russia and will power the country's newest domestically built plane, the MC-21. But doing business with Russia presents its own set of challenges. For one, Russia wouldn't heavily discount its planes like China would. As a matter of fact, they'll do the opposite and command a premium. Ever since Russia launched its war in Ukraine, it's been in a bit of an aviation crisis itself. While the country does build its own jets, it also leases plenty from the West. At the start of 2021, there were over 600 Boeing and Airbus planes being leased to Russian airlines. At the start of the invasion, the West imposed sanctions on Russia, and these sanctions demanded that these jets be returned to their lessors. Russian carriers, however, refused to comply. As a result, no aircraft lessor on Earth wants to do business with them. Even once sanctions are eventually lifted, Russian airlines will struggle to get their hands on Western-built jets. To help combat this impending shortage, Russian plane makers will have to pick up the slack. Now, the historical demand for Russian-built jets has never been all that high, meaning their operations are comparatively small. With this new influx of demand, these jet makers simply won't have the bandwidth to sell planes both to Russian airlines and also to the North Koreans, and Russian carriers are going to take priority. As such, it could be quite some time before North Korea can acquire Russian-built jets without it costing them an arm and a leg. So it turns out that none of the three options are all that ideal. In the best case scenario, Air Koryo may be able to get its hands on either Russian or Chinese-built jets in the mid to late 2030s.
I need pee.
But at that
I need
point,
pee.
the fleet will be nearing 50 years in age. So
I need pee. I need to pee my pants. Yeah, right. I really do that. That's stupid. I don't do that stuff.
Well, for the time being, it sure seems that way. However, the airline can cling to one piece of hope. Both tourism and domestic air travel are limited in the country, and that's been doubly true during the COVID pandemic. So while Air Koryo's planes are old and poorly maintained, they don't fly very often. Compared to American or European carriers who routinely operate single-aisle jets on up to 7 flights a day, North Korea's planes fly just once or twice. The upshot is that they don't experience as much general wear and tear. So there still remains a chance, albeit a remote one, that the airline can safely bridge the gap until newer planes can be bought. So what do you guys think? Would you ever fly Air Koryo in one of their old school Soviet-built jets? It honestly sounds like a really cool experience, but I personally don't know if I'd ever take the risk. If you flew to North Korea, though, I would love to hear about your experience. Be sure to leave a comment with your story down below. Thank you so much to my patrons for helping make this video.
say, girl, I know you.
Cascade Platinum Plus gives you the highest standard of clean, even in your machine. Dare to dish different.
We are here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we want our customers to know that we are in here working for them.
Top of the line talent and technology helps ensure power.
How was your latte? It was good. It was overpriced. Everything in this city's overpriced. Well, everything at a coffee shop's overpriced. $5,000 for a latte. That doesn't make much sense. No bullshit. Have you seen t-shirt prices? Yeah. Crazy. I own two, I think. And I'm in debt. That you should be. We're all in debt. All right, get the hell out of here. What do you guys want to do today? Oh, back over people. Yeah. Watch out, idiots. Yeah. All right. You're reporting sick. Do we have to pick up Neebs? No, Neebs isn't a... I do, really, yeah. Did you, like, I don't remember ever blowing up in the car, but I would want to.
I was like short, so I could only barely even see out the window. You just have movement. You can't see where you're going.
The only time I ever get car sick is when I was trying to read something.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's the same thing.
Anytime you're trying to read something or now.
Your eyes need to be like where you're going.
It's a brain fucker. It is a brain
Keep
fucker.
your eyes on the road. Like, I'm looking back like here. We're just, I mean, Atzo's driving like a nut.
Oh, God, he's nuts. This is nuts. This whole drive is a brain fucker. Go along. Yeah, that's nuts. I drive. Holy shit. Come on. There's nothing
That's
wrong.
nuts.
That was bad. That person did not deserve to die. That bitch should have been walking in the middle of the fucking road. You should slow down a second.
So what are we doing?
We gotta steal some freaking meth, man.
We stole men.
We're always stealing meth.
Yeah,
Part of what we do. It's part of our business.
Why don't we steal some, I don't know, Prilosec or something?
I lost the door. I lost the door. It's okay. I got insurance. Yeah.
So we steal some of that, and then we go to like the farmer's market. And we sell it cheaper than what they sell at the drugstore.
I don't know if the people at the farmer's market are going to let us sell private
Well,
sex.
everybody at the farmer's market has tomatoes, lettuce, and potatoes.
Right. You don't go to the farmer's market to buy private sex.
That's why we would kill it. We're the only guy there.
Wouldn't kill it
That's
at all.
right.
All right. Hey, guys.
I want some Prilosec.
Hey, shut the fuck up. We're almost here. Let's go steal some crystal meth.
All right, again.
Okay, I'm done watching. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go.
Why is this not? Oh, there we go. Zoom it in.
Ooh, look at the sky one today. Yeah, time to nut. Woo! I love this gun.
Hey, go down.
Shoot at somebody.
Fuck yeah, dude. Watch out. Got one in front of
Is
you.
that guy taking a nap? What's happening here?
Guy I got. See that car over there, man?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. Keep it down.
Good job, buddy. Oh, shit. That was the guy behind us. Oh, I got him. Oh, shoot. Nope. Nope.